Yo, what up? How's it going? And welcome back for another video. In today's video, I'll be showing you how I hit Challenger in set 5.5 TFT and how I think you can too. So before we get into that, if this is your first time here, all we do on this channel is do educational TFT content as well as some more fun TFT content and VODs. So if you're into that sort of thing, I would appreciate it if you subscribed if that's what you're into. No pressure. And if you end up liking the video, please like the video because it helps me out so much with the YouTube algorithm. All right, all the shilling out of the way. I just would appreciate that. But let's get that out of the way. Let's talk about why you came here. Before we get into the slides and the nitty gritty, I just want to tell you what this is about. And I want to be transparent. I've hit Challenger before. This is not my first set to hit Challenger. I was Challenger in set 4.5 and I've been Grandmaster Plus in set 3.5, every single set. Even sets I've hardly played. So I am already better at the game. And so this isn't my first learning situation. But in this guide, I want to show you all the things that I do to improve every set, because every set I start out not so great and I have to improve over time. I'm going to tell you guys all the learnings that I've gotten over the years and all that good stuff. Some of this is going to be mindset stuff, but some of this is also going to be tangible things that you can change in your gameplay right now that I see people in Master, Diamond, and all YOLOs below mess up, and some things that I had to learn in order to get to a skill level where I can hit this rank all the time. So let's get into it. Sorry, I'm gonna be grabbing my nose a lot. I have allergies, so it just be like that. Okay, here's the first thing. This is gonna be obvious. You probably heard it before, but I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about this. And I'm going to be telling you my method of improvement. So you have to play and watch a ton. It takes time to get good or just time to gain LP in general. That's no secret. I mean, even if you are already good at the game, it just takes a lot of time to gain the appropriate amount of LP to hit whatever rank you want to hit. And if it's Challenger, you got to gain a lot of LP. So let's go through my general method of improvement. This is a very common way people improve at the game, but this is what I think about every single set when I'm trying to get better, or every single time I feel like I need to get a lot better at the game. This is what I do. And I'm just going to say everything it is, and then we'll get into each point. So you need to watch someone better than you, usually two different people. And make sure they're also doing well at the game at that time, because some people are bad on certain patches. So you need to be watching someone better than you play. Play, and after that, this is a step-by-step. After that, play and try to apply the method of play that you watch, and then watch again to learn something new. After you feel like you've learned enough about that patch or that meta, then you can develop your own strategy or play style that is winning and gaining you LP during that patch or meta. And then once you hit a wall, once you hit a skill threshold, you just repeat the process over again forever. Okay, now let's get into it. So watch someone better than you, usually two different people. What do I mean by watch them? You need to be watching with the explicit intent to learn. You're not there to be entertained. It's fine to be entertained, but you need to be watching to learn, and you need to drop your ego. Even if your skill level is not that far below theirs, you are watching to learn. Take what you can get from it, take the good and leave the bad. The benefit of watching someone play, even if you're at their skill level, but generally if you're watching this video, you're gonna be watching people much better than you because you're trying to hit the rank that these people are hitting. Sorry, I'll be grabbing my nose, man. Just allergies. You need to be odd. You need to be watching them to get better. And the way that you do that is you drop your ego and you try to put them in, try to be in their perspective. But the great thing is you don't have the pressure of trying to win the game. You don't have the pressure of, you don't have the stress going on in the game, and you don't have the stress of the outcome of the game or like the stressors that's happening. So you can look from this overview position, try to put yourself in their position and think about their decision process. And a lot of creators, a lot of streamers are very good about talking about their process. And don't be one of those people who make fun of them when they make a mistake, because you would have made that mistake. And oftentimes something that you identify as a mistake is not actually a mistake. It's just something that they did, and then the result was not what desired, but the thought process was the same. I have so many games where I lose the game, I go 6th place or something, and when I end the game, I'm very upset, because those are games that are very upsetting to me, because sometimes you end a game and I feel like had I have given that same situation, I would have done the exact same thing. And that is just the nature of the game. That happens sometimes. So it's very important you don't have results-based analysis. And when people are talking through their processes, even something that you think is a mistake might not have been one, because they're just thinking at a different level than you are. So really think about that. So the reason why you watch two different people is because TFT is a very complicated game. It's not as complicated as a game like League of Legends, but it's still a very complicated game. people can have vastly different perspectives on the game. I think this is best exemplified in I'll give you an example of 2 high elo players. There's Piba, you may have heard of him. He had a comp name after him in set 3. And Mismatch Socks. Those are both 2 challenger players. Piba, for example, I'm generalizing. I'm not even certain he plays exactly like this anymore. I do have him on my games often. It seems like this is how he plays still. He in general doesn't try to play strongest board every stage of the game. He likes to get to legendary boards, to 4-cost boards, and he likes a lot of tanky compositions. I don't know if he thinks this is just the best way to play or if he just likes doing this. And I'm generalizing. He knows how to make strong boards, I'm sure. But in general, every time I'm in games with him, he plays a pretty weak mid game because he tries to win late game really hard. And so that's his playstyle that he's identified. And on the other hand, Mismatch Socks is very famous on being a super flex, strongest board player, meaning that you slam flexible items, you try to win early game, you try to win mid game, and then you translate that into a decently strong late game. And generally his play style makes it to where you get a lot of top 4s, doesn't necessarily mean you first place very often. And that is generally how I play as well. So the point I'm trying to make is you have 2 players that are at a similar LP who have vastly different play styles, who will give you vastly different perspectives. And since they're such different players, some patches, like this player will think the patch is terrible and it's so hard to play and they're going to be losing a lot. And this player over here might be winning on that same patch and vice versa. So it's very important you get multiple perspectives so you can develop your own strategy and also just get a better perspective and scope on what's actually happening in the game, because you can really get bogged down in TFT and thinking the game has to be played a certain way because you watched a certain player that you admire play it a certain way and you also play that way. So it's very important that you watch multiple perspectives. Okay, play and try to apply that method of play. So I'm just going to take you through my time management strategy for when I'm doing this. And I'll give you 2 time management strategies. One for someone who's able to play the game a lot, doesn't have a full-time job, that sort of thing. And someone who does have a full-time job, maybe can only play on the weekends. So here's my 2 time management techniques. For me, I do have a lot of time. I'm trying to make content full-time, that sort of thing. So I do have a lot of time to play the game. And so when I'm doing grind sessions, this is how I play. This is what I do specifically. In the morning, I watch someone play. Usually, and this is just how my time slot just works out. In the morning, I watch Soju play for 2 hours. This is like in the thick of the set when I was doing most of my learning. I'll watch Soju in the first 2 hours of the game. Very good player. Because he streams in the morning. I stream in the afternoon. So then I'll play in the afternoon. So I'll watch him for about 2 hours, and I'll play for about 4 to 6 hours in the afternoon. And then when I get off, I'll watch Robin Songs play, who streams at nighttime. And I'll watch him play for about 2 hours or till whatever. And those are the players that I watch. And while I'm doing that, I have the explicit intent to learn. I am close to their skill level, but they are better than me for sure. When I was watching Soju, he was like 100, 200 LP above me. So I take what I can get. Sometimes I don't learn a lot, but sometimes I do learn a lot. And at the minimum, I get a different perspective. So that's what I do. So we watch again and learn something new. So that's when I'm watching Robin at night. And then after you feel like you've watched enough, you kind of grinded, you can develop your own play style and you can stop watching, or you can continue to keep watching. I just keep watching all the time, but I'll develop my own play style and I might be playing way differently than Soju or whatever. I'll literally be in games with him the same day that I'm watching him to learn. And I might play a completely different style than he is, but I'm still trying to take what I can get from the way that he's playing and what he thinks is strong in the meta. And then once you hit a skill ceiling that you can't break through, you just repeat this whole process and start from scratch from the beginning. That is how I learn. I don't know if that was complicated. I hope that wasn't. Okay, mindset. Before we talk about this stuff, and I know you're probably reading that line, you are garbage at the game. I want to be very clear. I don't want anyone to feel bad about their rank. If you're happy with whatever rank you're at, that is awesome. I regularly celebrate with my viewers and people that I coach. Whenever they hit their goals might just be gold, platinum, master, diamond. Whatever your goal is to hit and you feel good about that rank, that is awesome. But we are talking about you're trying to get in the 0.00001% of players on the server. You're trying to be in the top 250 players in the entire continent. Okay? I don't know why that word was hard for me to say. So you need to have a growth mindset. And what you need to understand is you are garbage at the game. You are garbage at the game. And I'm not just talking to you. I am garbage at the game. Let me explain what I mean. I am at my peak LP. I am literally challenger. I'm the highest rank you can possibly be at the game. But there's so much stuff that I can get you better at. There's so much stuff that I could be learning. And if you want to get better, you need to drop your ego. I know it's fun to have an ego, and let me tell you, even when you're watching those streamers like Soju, for example, that's a streamer that I watch a lot. He'll talk about how great he is at the game all the time, and he's the shit, and he feels so good. On the inside, you know, he's putting on airs a little bit for like content creation. Even if he does think he's good at the patch, on the inside, he is still looking for ways to get better. He is still trying to get better, and he's looking at other players and seeing what they're doing and trying to get better at all the time. If you truly want to be great at something, you know, there's an expression, I don't know exactly what it is, but the expression is, the point of it is, in a complicated field or a subject, which TFT is a complicated game, once you are great at something, and once you're great at it, you're good enough to realize that you're bad, right? You're great enough at it that you recognize that you're bad. And when someone is actually bad, is they're decent at it. I'm butchering this, but you're good enough to think that you're good, which usually means you're pretty bad. Because there's like a knowledge threshold you hit when you realize that there's so much more. And so if you have never been in high elo before, here's how I feel about the game. And this is how most people feel about the game. The game does not even begin until like Master 400 LP. Let me just be real with you. If you're playing at Master 200 LP or 0 LP, you're playing a completely different game than the people just the lobby above you. You're playing a completely different game. And so what I'm trying to express here is, I see a lot of people, this happens a lot in Diamond. I'll play on a Smurf or something, or when I'm just making my initial climb, or I'll have friends who play in that elo. There is so much bitching in Diamond and Master, and people think that they're good or think that they're this. That, like, to me is like peak you're bad at the game, because you think that you're good because you hit this certain skill threshold that is not even much better than the people right below you. Like, there's, in my opinion, there's not a big difference between Master and Platinum. There's just not. The biggest difference in skill in this game is from Master 200 LP to Master 400 LP. That is the biggest skill differential. And there's another large skill differential at like 600 LP to 800 LP. And then a smaller skill differential from like 800 LP to, you know, the top 10 players. But those players are much better than like someone like me, who is someone who's like 900 LP. Even I have this huge growth potential to hit, not as big as what you guys have. But the point I'm trying to make is, there's not a certain level where you get good at the game. And if you think that is Master, you are just wrong. You are just wrong. You know, everyone has their own opinion, but I think you are just wrong. Okay, here's something else. Everyone has the same RNG. You are not special. So whenever you're complaining about getting Mort Dog, yeah, you sure do get Mort Dog sometimes. That happens. But everyone gets Mort Dog the same percentage of the times if you play enough games. The law of averages out, and you have the same RNG as everyone else. Stop complaining about your RNG. Some games you do get, you know, you do get Mort Dogged. But for the same amount of games you're going to get Mort Dogged, you're going to have a good situation. So the point is, try to make the best out of those bad situations. We'll talk about some tangible things you can do with that in a minute. Your LP doesn't matter. Focus on improvement. So I know that's hard to hear for some people. I know a lot of people have ladder anxiety. A lot of people want to hold on to a rank. If you're wanting to hold on to a rank, that is just the wrong mindset. You just need to think about your LP as a fluid resource, and we'll talk about that later. You just really got to think about, like, I need to get better. You need to be in the mindset that you got to get better. And if you want to get better at the game, you're going to have some growing pains. Stop trying to hold on to your rank. Just get better. And I know that can feel bad to some people, but if your goal is to hit Challenger, or your goal is to hit Grandmaster or something, then you being at Master 0 LP or being Diamond 75 LP makes literally no difference. So you just need to focus on improvement. If you have ladder anxiety, the only way I found to get over that, because I've had bad ladder anxiety before, the only way I found to get better at that is just play. You just got to play a lot of the game. I used to make multiple accounts to try to curve that anxiety, but honestly, it just contributed more to that, because I would want to be high rank on at least one of them, and I'd have to play the game so much more, and I'd be so stressed on a specific account. So the only way I found to get better at it is just play a lot. Hope that helps, but you know, if you have ladder anxiety, I feel for you, and I hope you get over that. Okay, again, I want to just express, I'm not trying to make you feel bad about your rank. If you're stoked that you're Master, that's great, but if you want to be Challenger, you need to understand that you are garbage. I am Challenger, and I have so much I could get better at. So I don't want you to feel bad about your rank, but just if you want to truly be good or great at the game, you need to have a growth mindset all the time. All right. Okay, now we are getting in some nitty-gritty, some tangible things that you can change in your game. And this is one of the biggest points I want to talk about. Play aggressive when behind. This can be meta dependent, but for the set 5.5, this strategy works all the time. I actually just made a self plug we're going to do here. I actually have been filming these shorts where I talk about some small game concepts that I see people mess up on that they can get so much better on. This is one I just covered in one of my YouTube shorts. So again, if you subscribe to me, I post tips like this all the time, some little knowledge dumps that you can get. But play aggressive when you're behind. This is the biggest thing that I see master players, diamond players, even some grandmaster players not do correctly, is they don't take control of their low roll games. So you've probably heard this before, but I'm going to actually tell you some tangible things that I really think about in my games where I feel like I am low rolling early game. You need to take control of your low roll games. You can't just have a low roll opener, pray you get to stage 4 and hit exactly the comp you want. That is not a playstyle. You are gambling. So you're just coin flipping your games. I see so many people do this. They have a weak stage 2. They'll just keep a weak stage 3 and they'll try to econ to stage 4. Sometimes you can do this. Sometimes it is possible to do this with a certain setup, with certain items that you have, certain amount of econ you have, how the strength of the lobby. Sometimes this is doable, but most of the time you are just putting yourself in a situation where you have to hit a 2-star forecast on level 7, which sometimes happens, sometimes doesn't. But the point is you're taking the game out of your hands and you're just playing first or 8th. Whenever you lower early game. That isn't a play style. You're not learning anything. You're not doing anything. You are just gambling. And that feels so terrible and you're not improving at all. Okay, so here's my general rule when I'm playing a low roll game. If I lose stage 2, then I want to win stage 3. Most of the time I try to win stage 3 if I lose stage 2. And when I'm losing stage 2, I try to econ. So when I'm losing stage 2, I prioritize econ. I will still buy things and hold things on my bench that I think will make my board stronger on stage 3. I still try to build what I think is the strongest board. But if I look around and I think I'm going to just be win-loss, 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 I'll prioritize econ. I'll try to lose streak. I don't open 4 right now. And I don't think that you have to lose streak. Just try to maximize hitting the econ thresholds and be holding things on your bench that are going to be strong units for stage 3. And I'm not going to really get into that too much. You need to learn that for yourself. But the point is, if you lose stage 2, then I really try to win stage 3. And if you lose stage 2 and 3, then you must win stage 4. And so that's what I'm talking about. Sometimes you can econ up to stage 4 while playing a weak early game. But in general, I do not like that play style because you are just coin flipping for stage 4. It is much easier to flip for a strong stage 3 board because most of the players in the lobby will not play aggressive with you. So they're high rolling and they're going to coast off their HP, or they are bad and they're going to try to get to stage 4 and coin flip the game. Not necessarily bad, but they're going to try to coin flip the game. So whenever you're behind, if you play really aggressive on stage 3, a lot of times you can win all of stage 3, recoup your econ, keep your health high, and increases your chance of top 4ing. Learning this playstyle will also teach you how to be strong at all stages and will save you from 8th places. So what I'm talking about, be strong at all stages, the hardest point in the game for people to understand is probably mid game. I find that people know how to play a high roll opener and people know how to create late game comps. But the hard part is the mid game, especially when you're low rolling. So you'll be able to recognize certain comps that you can go for, the amount of money you need to spend to create a strong comp. Like everyone knows how to do like a 5-1 roll down for like transition into like an Aphelios comp or a Draven comp or a Lucian comp, whatever. Whatever comp you're comfortable transitioning into. But a lot of players don't know how to create that, to do that same thing, but on stage 3, create a comp around Varus that is really strong. Create a comp around Brand. Create a comp around Yasuo. So the more you do this, the more you'll learn how to create compositions that win streak all of stage 3 and win most of stage 4, that you can recoup your econ and actually get to a 4-cost comp when you're low rolling. Because a lot of times when you low roll, it is really hard to get it to a 4-cost comp unless you're just incredibly lucky whenever you're doing your roll down at 4-1 or 4-5 or whatever you're trying to do. So learning how to do this will help you get to your actual 4-cost comps and will save you a lot of HP and will save you a lot of LP because you can turn 8th places into 6. You can turn 6th places in the 4ths by learning how to play aggressive on stage 3, which is a very hard point in the game. Yeah, the key general takeaway is just stop coin flipping your games when you're low rolling. Take charge of your low roll games. Again, if you try to implement this strategy, you will have a lot of growing pains because if you're not comfortable on rolling on stage 3 or making early mid game comps, You will have to learn how to do that. The only way to learn how to do it is to do it. So yeah, that is one of the biggest things I had to learn in order to break out of Grandmaster and like High Master this set personally. I've learned how to do that skill before, but I really had to relearn it this set. And so yeah, anyways, that is like a really big thing I wanted to talk about here. Okay, Econ and health are the same resource. This goes a lot with what I just talked about. So you need to think of health and Econ as a fluid resource. You've probably heard this before, but health equals Econ. They are the same thing. And they afford you a lot of things. So if you are ahead, then you can afford to sack stage 3 or 4. I'm generalizing here, but just think about if you have 100 HP going into stage 3, well, you can afford to lose stage 3 and then make a strong stage 4 board. Or if you won stage 2 and stage 3, then you can afford to lose stage 4, leverage your health advantage into Econ and into getting to a 4-cost or a legendary board. Most people know how to do that. And so here's the other thing I was talking about just in the last slide. If you are piss weak and low health but rich, then you need to roll to get strong. I see this so much, and I see this in a lot of stream chats too. People will be like, yo, why are you rolling? Like, you rolled way too much. You're like, I'm rolling because I'm piss weak and have 50 health. What do you mean, why am I rolling? You can't always roll at like the good times or the best times. You're not always going to be able to roll at 4-1 or 4-3 or 4-5 or 5-1. You're not always going to be able to roll. Sometimes you have to roll right before PvE because you can't lose another round. Right? If you lose another round, that puts you in like one-shot territory, which is another thing I copied I covered in one of my shorts. So just understand whenever you're weak, but you have a lot of money and you have low health, then you need to get strong. So leverage that. So that's what we just talked about. So playing aggressive from behind. The game will give you some advantage every game. It's all about leveraging that advantage every game. Sometimes you get more dogged. It happens. But most of the time, you'll have some sort of advantage that you can leverage. Maybe it's not the advantage that you want. Maybe you would prefer to have a bunch of health and not a lot of gold. Sometimes you have a lot of gold, not a lot of health. And you just need to think about that resource as the same thing and just leverage your advantage every game. Sometimes leveraging your advantage means that you're going to get a 6th place when you would have got an 8th. Sometimes it means you turn a 6th place into a 1st place. But the point is, you need to learn how to play with Econ and health because they are the same thing. I think a lot of people know how to work with having a lot of health, but they don't know how to work with having a lot of money and not a lot of health. So just think about them as the same thing and try to learn how to leverage both sides of that coin. Okay, be flexible with your play style. This is actually the last thing we're going to talk about before we talk about some closing thoughts and some takeaways. So be flexible with your play style. So what I mean by that, I don't mean you need to play flex or play flex, whatever. You just need to have a flexible mindset. So let's talk about one tricks. Open fort one tricks. There are a lot of successful one tricks in high elo that survive every single patch. There's also a lot of one tricks who get patched out. So let's talk about why that is. So if you want a one trick, take it as far as you can if you want. All right. But if you don't learn flex, you'll be patched out. This doesn't mean that you need to actually learn how to play the other comps. Because if you just like one tricking, you like one tricking. There's a lot of players who one trick a lot, like Jirachi. Jirachi is a challenger player, and they one trick a lot. They one tricked MF, and then they one trick Sins. Notice that they switched their one trick once the meta changed. But then you'll find other players. I don't really know what happened to Cled Bundy. Maybe Cled Bundy's just not playing a lot, but Cled Bundy is just an example I'm going to come up with. Maybe Cled Bundy is still high elo. But Cled Bundy only played LeBlanc. LeBlanc got patched out, and Cled Bundy was like rank 2, and then shot down in LP. That player got patched out. And so what I'm talking about is I'm not saying you need to be a flex player, but every great one trick also knows a bit about flex. And so let's talk about how that is. Oftentimes one trick ponies play flex, but just within their one trick. So truly great one trick players know all of the min maxes that they can do. For example, Jirachi had this very detailed guide on how to play MF if it goes wrong. You know, what things you can look for, what are the actual breakpoints. And so that is someone who's being very thoughtful about why their comp is strong and what breakpoints and what is happening. And having that mindset will allow you to learn any comp. And so while you're doing this, when you're being flex within your comp, even when you're doing that, you need to be mindful about why other things are strong in the meta, even if you're a one trick. So if you like one tricking, and that's the best way for you to climb, You are going to get patched out if you do not actively think about what everyone else is doing and why what they're doing is good. Even if you don't learn how to play it yourself, like for example, I only played AD last patch. I only played AD carries. I did not play AP. Every game I wouldn't play AP because AD was just a little better. But there are tons of AP players. There's like Burt, there's Pokygom. And I would try to learn their comps and why they play it the certain way and why it's working for them, even if I didn't play it. So that when we get into this patch, I'm actually only playing AP. And I only played AD last patch. And I was able to make that transition very cleanly into playing AP, even though I haven't played an AP comp in a month. I was able to instantly transition into playing AP comps again because I was mindful that whole time. And so what I'm trying to express, even when you're a one trick, you need to be mindful about what's going on in the game, because if you're just one tricking and you're not thinking, you're just, I don't know, you're just, I don't know what you're doing. You're just gaining LP and you're not actually improving, and your LP will look like a stock market whenever your one trick gets nerfed and buffed. So really be mindful whenever you're one tricking. Okay, conclusion, what are the takeaways? This takes time and effort and mental. It just does. It takes a lot of time. Unless you're just a savant or have an incredibly high aptitude, if you want to hit Challenger or even Grandmaster, it's just going to take a lot of time. A lot of people, I think anybody can hit Master in a short amount of time if they really want to. But again, I really think there's a big skill threshold at about 400 LP that is hard to overcome unless you spend a lot of time. You know, some people are able to just overcome it immediately, but you know, that's the point. Drop your ego. Everyone has the same Mort Dog. So you were bad at the game, have a growth mindset. It's okay to feel good about how you play. Like I feel great. Like some games I'll play and I'm like, oh, I played that like a beast, you know? But I still have that growth mindset. I could feel like I'm actually pretty good at the game, but I'm always looking for ways to get better. So have a growth mindset and understand that everyone has to deal with Mort Dog. Everyone does. Learn to put the game in your own hands. So this is like talking about whenever you are playing from behind, learn how to salvage and learn how to leverage the advantage that you're given. You know, if you lost all of your health early game, well, you should have more money than everyone else. Sometimes you just get Mort Dogged when you try to do this. You know, sometimes you have a guaranteed 8th, but most of the time you can turn an 8th place into a 6th and a 6th place into a 4th. So just understand that. Health equals econ. So leverage the advantage you have each game. That's what I just talked about. But just really think about health and econ as a fluid resource and learn how to master both sides of that coin, because most players only know how to work one side of it. So really think about how to play with health advantage, health disadvantage, econ disadvantage. Okay, be mindful about the meta and what is strong. Even if you're one tricking or playing a singular playstyle, be constantly thinking so that you don't get patched out. And this is a very good way to continue to improve. Okay, guys, that is it. Sorry, I don't know if this was rambling or rambling or anything like that. These are just my thoughts and the things that I personally do to get better. I hope that I helped you guys. And yeah, again, if you guys liked the video, please like the video. And if you like TFT content and educational stuff, then please subscribe because that's what we do here. And I'd love to be able to get these videos out to more people. And the other shameless plug I'm going to do, I stream, 3 to 4 days a week on Twitch right now. And I also stream on YouTube on the weekends right now. So I stream a lot of places. So if you guys want to follow me on Twitch or just check me out on YouTube even more, then that's what we do here. But if you guys made it to this point in the video, I'd love it if you commented, just because I love to see it. I read those. It's really interesting to see. And of course, it helps me out with YouTube. But, I really do love to see it. It makes me feel good. And I reply to all the comments that I can. And it's usually almost every comment. So if you want to do that, that'd be awesome. And the last thing I'll leave you with, I hope you guys are doing well wherever you are. And wherever you are, whatever time it is, I appreciate you. And I just hope you're all doing well. And, we're all going to make it. All right. I appreciate you guys. See ya. Have a good day. Have a good night. See ya. Bye-bye.